name is Scott with Shoms Photography, and today we did a live. I kind of went off tangent all over the place. Apologize. I didn't think the whole thing through properly, so we're going through it now. I did take pictures of the setups, what I said I was going to show you. Here's the Colt45. This Colt45 produces a circular pattern. You can take a 7-inch reflector and you can take this, and everybody always says, well, why don't you just use a 7-inch reflector? A 7-inch reflector feathers out. It's a hot spot, feathers out. This stays a completely round circle. So if you watch the live video, I explained it's a completely round circle of light. So it's the same measurement from the top of that circle to the bottom of that circle to the center of the circle. Every foot you go out, it increases the size of this circle. So at 1 foot, you have a 1 foot circle. 2 foot, you have a 2 foot circle. 3 foot, you have a 3 foot circle. At 4 foot, you have a 4 foot circle. At 5 foot, you have a 5 foot circle, and so on and so on. Until 16 foot, you have a 16 foot circle. 8 foot, I know I'm going to completely light my model up from head to toe at 8 feet because it's an 8 foot circle. Again, from the top of the circle to the bottom of the circle is going to be consistently even. With a 7-inch reflector, the center is going to be one reading. So say if it was F13, be in the center. By the time I hit the top of the nose, I've already dropped maybe 2 stops. And by the time I hit over the top of the head, I've already lost another stop. Again, the inverse square law. Understanding the inverse square law and due to the size of that 7-inch reflector compared to this, there is a completely difference. You might get the same number reading, say F13 on this one, but you get more surface area coverage from this one. This is a high output reflector. It actually produces a cone of light like a parabolic umbrella. That's what a parabolic umbrella is supposed to do. It's supposed to focus the light and shoot it at a further distance than you can with another reflector. That's what this does. So with a standard reflector at 8 feet, I get F32. With this reflector at the same distance, I'm getting F64. There's a big difference. It's not increasing the power of the flash. It's increasing the intensity of the light and throwing it further. So therefore I get a more punch of light from a longer distance. Some people say, well, okay, if we took a speed light and we put this up against this Colt45, again, you might get F16 at the same distance. But you're only filling so much from that speed light compared to what you're filling with this in a bigger area. So therefore, everybody goes, well, at 6 feet, I've got F16. That means I can evenly power the sun with a speed light. You kind of can. It's better if you were 3 feet more or 3 feet in to get more better light than you do at the 6 feet. So, but again, quality of light, quality of light. I use this reflector 95% of the time in studio. I use it 95% of the time out on location. If I'm shooting studio, this is my main light. I always have a fill light if I'm shooting in studio, but this is my main light. I'm always using a high output reflector. And the reason why is because I'm adding contrast in hard light with the fill to get more detail out of my images. People say, well, hey, your images look HDR. Of course they do, because I have more contrast, because I have more punch of light. I have more harder shadows. Therefore, it's crisper. It's a lot crisper than if you were shooting soft light. There are many great photographers out there that shoot soft light, and that's what they do. I'm a hard light shooter. The Colt45 or high-end reflectors are my favorite. I normally you don't see me use this one out on location. because of its blackness. It's because it's black. I was out on location, and stupid me, this thing sat out there for almost 5 hours in the hot sun. I could have cooked eggs off this thing. It was so hot. I burnt my hand, and then I stopped using the Colt45 out on location. The only reason why I have not painted this modifier is because this is autographed to me from Edward. I did buy this, but this one is autographed to me from Edward. Some of you have soft boxes that are autographed. Some of you have rice bowls that are autographed. I don't want to spray paint over Edward's signature. So he's sending me a damaged one. So it's been squished, and I'm just going to re-straighten it back out and bend it back out. And then I'm going to paint it gray or brown or whatever, and then I'm going to start using it more out on locations because I like the size of this. It's nice, compact, easier to carry than the big old dough boy I showed earlier in the video. I just like it. It's just, I like the size, it's easy to carry. And again, finding a case for it is a piece of cake. So I was explaining different light scenarios and how I light towards that sternum area. When the stand is out 8 foot, the dead center, when I walk out, I look where that light is. I place my thing on the ground where the model's going to stand, and I make sure that light is pointing towards my sternum, the bottom of the sternum, or would be her sternum, because I know if that's the center of light, then I have, if I'm back 8 feet, then I know I have from that point, from that sternum area, up and down, a full, consistent f-stop. Now, it's shorter distance from here to the top of my head than it is here to the bottom of my feet, or even the model's feet. So as I explained in the video, the live feed, that it was 40, F40, F40, and then when it got down to the kneecaps, it dropped down to F29. It's because it was out past the circle of light. Again, I don't mind that the legs get darker, and the reason why I don't mind is because when you're using a Colt45, the angle that you put that light, if you tilt it down too far, you're lighting the ground. You're killing the shadow that would be casted from the sun by lighting the ground, because you're double exposing from the sun and this at the same time. If you are shooting the way I shoot, then you'll see the shadow on the ground coming from the back or from behind from the sun. And this, at the angle this is, it's not forcing the shadow to the ground from the subject backwards. So therefore, when you look behind my pictures and my images, there's not a shadow behind the model from the light. So there's not one going forward and there's not one going backwards. Like some photographers you'll see that do soft light or do hard light, they have a shadow, one coming from the sun coming this way, and then you have one from their light coming this way. Very unrealistic. It doesn't look proper. Again, it's all about how you set up your light. Because when I'm shooting, the modifier or thing is kind of like at this angle, and it's up higher, of course. Well, this is an old stand. This stand's older than dirt. But if I'm down here, this light's going to hit my sternum right about here, and then the shadow is not going to hit this ground. But most people like to do, angle down like this, and now you're angling down onto the model. Sometimes you're losing some of the light that comes into the eyes, and you're casting a shadow across the ground. So you have one coming this way, one going that way. So it's always about how you angle your light. If I'm using like the RB120, sometimes out on location, depending on how tall the model is, that light actually has to be like this. And of course, it's not this low, but it's at an angle facing upwards. And people will come by and say, are you using that light to light the model? When, yes, I am. I'm actually using this edge of this light to light my model. This is not casting the shadow, the light onto the ground, overexposing the ground. It's catching the light from up here and shooting down on my model. So I'm using a lot more power because most of my light is shooting off that way, but I'm trying to capture this light to feather down onto my subject. So, again, there's no snoot, this is a snoot type of thing. So when you're in close, it becomes, like I said, 1 inch circle. It's the same diameter with your modifiers. And there's no grid for this. Sure, I know other companies sell a grid that comes with theirs that's basically like this. But I just don't see the need for a grid. I mean, you're cutting down your power. Sure, you're focusing your light even more, but you're cutting down your power too, and I don't like cutting down any power. I don't use a sock on it, I don't use nothing. I don't cover my modifiers hardly ever. The rice bowl, I use the dim sum dish. I might use the outer or inner diffuser. I never use the outer diffuser. I never use a grid. I just don't use them. I like the hard light, and so I'm using the dim sum dish. I do get soft light with the dim sum dish, don't get me wrong, because you're looking at a big modifier. Or the 120 is a nice big modifier out on location, gives nice soft light. And you have to be in closer because you're trying to fill that whole modifier with light. But you also need to know that you have to back the light off far enough so you're actually lighting your subject. You can't just put the light right up against your subject and expect to fill the whole frame if the modifier is not big enough to fill the person's body. So like when you're shooting with a speed light and you're wanting a full length picture, you actually have to turn your flash from horizontal to vertical. So then that way you're lighting a pattern of light crossways instead of going this way, and where you would do like a 3/4 shot. Again, it's one of my favorite reflectors. It's something that you should study and learn and practice with. It's if say 7 out of 10, if I give them this modifier, 3 of the people's images will come out probably almost exactly like mine, and then 7 of them won't look anything like mine. It's again, you got to practice and learn your modifier. Again, when I go out on location, I've been doing the same type of shoot for the last 7 so years. So I know my exact distance of how far I need to walk out from my stand and tell the model to stand. I know what the f-stop's going to be off the light already, because guess what? I've done it over a few thousand times. You know, I know my settings on my camera. I know until doomsday comes and there's going to be some kind of funky cloud covering over the sky, I know what my f-stop's going to be. I mean, I know, you just know exactly what it's going to be. If it's an overcast day, I know that, hey, I can shoot with the ND filter, or I don't have to shoot with the ND filter. But, and I just have to change something. But again, it's a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going off tangent again. Again, the Colt45 is just a high-end reflector. Again, you should practice it, you should study it, you should not just take it out and think that you're going to get the exact same picture as me or someone else that's using it or whatever. If you're a soft light shooter, this needs to be really close to get soft light. And I mean close. I mean, you got to be close. It's not here, it's here. If you want soft light, this is not the modifier that you're going to use to get soft light. This is going to be your hard light modifier. You put the sock on it, it diffuses the light a little bit, but it's still a hard light. It's never going to be, if you're going to use 11-inch umbrella, might as well just use an 11-inch umbrella but putting a sock on it. Because once you put a sock on it, you got kind of your shoot-through umbrella. A little 11-inch shoot-through umbrella. Why do it? Use an umbrella. you want hard light, this is the thing you want. Okay, Edward has decided to extend the sale on this. It's a great little modifier. He decided to extend it after I told him I was going to probably make a video and go live tonight and do something about the Colt 45. So he decided to extend it. It's at the lowest price ever. Because when I bought mine, this one here, it was $100-something bucks, I think it was. And then it slowly it's gone down. But now it's like 70 bucks. That's the deal. I really like it. It's again compact and portable. You can buy from other companies, like I said. If the Pro Photo first one that looks just like this, except for it has the Pro Photo mount, that's like a $700 reflector. And people complain about this being, oh, it's made in China, whatever. So is some of the Pro Photo stuff. So is freaking Hensel. So is freaking Bronze Color. Some of that stuff is all made in China too. It's not just made in one place. So same way with C-stands. If it says American made, yeah, some parts are American made, but not all the parts. Some of it's imported from China. So there you go. Again, this is Colt 45. My name is Scott with Shoms Photography, and thank you for watching.